Nancy drew Weirdness at Waverly Academy, a story by Arglefumph. Chapter 52, Time Travel. Nancy looked at her to-do list again. She had been a busy detective lately, so most of the items on the list were crossed off already. The to-do list. Number 1. Put Oklahoma back on the map of the United States. Number 2. Get a picture of the map of the United States. Number 3. Find a way into the locked classroom with the map of the United States. Number 4. Do the United States map puzzle already. I get the sense that I'm supposed to do the United States map puzzle now, Nancy commented. But wait, there's a disclaimer here. In small print, the notebook stated, United States map puzzle must be completed after curfew. No problem, Nancy said, pulling out her phone. Time travel powers, activate! Nancy set her phone to 11 p.m. and instantly she traveled through time to later that night. It was one of the more useful features of her cell phone. When Nancy returned, she found herself sitting in one of the chairs on the top floor. Standing in front of her was Paige Griffin, the angry building monitor. Miss Sawyer, where have you been all day? Paige asked. You forgot to do snack shop duty. That's one demerit. Oops, Nancy said. Now all the girls are starving, Paige said. What do you have to say for yourself? I got your term paper, Nancy said. What? Your term paper, Nancy said, pulling it out of her bag. You know, the one that Casper the squirrel stole. I spent the day finding it and getting it back for you. Paige's eyes went wide as she saw the long missing term paper whose disappearance caused her to flunk out of biology class. She said. It was the nicest thing one of the valedictorian candidates had ever done for Paige, considering that she was always yelling at them and giving them demerits. Yes, well, it's still curfew time, Paige said. If you don't go to your room, you'll get demerits. Okay, I'm going, Nancy said, heading back to her room. And Becca? Thanks, Paige said. Anything for a friend? Nancy smiled. Chapter 53. Nancy Kills America. Once Paige was gone, Nancy snuck out of her room and went downstairs. The double doors leading to the classroom with the map of the United States were locked. Why'd I leave my lock-picking kit at home? Nancy said to no one in particular. She took a closer look at the lock, which was an extremely simple one. In fact, it was so simple that... Hope this works, Nancy thought. She pulled out Amber Sullivan's student ID and slid it through the space between the two doors. The door on the right then opened. Yes, Nancy said. If this detective thing doesn't work out, a life of crime could be in my future. Nancy strolled into the classroom and put the state of Oklahoma on the U.S. map. Remembering Rachel's orders, Nancy took a picture of the map. That was a simple challenge, Nancy said. She turned to leave and stopped dead. One of the pillars had a picture of a raven on it. It looked exactly like the raven in Rita Hallowell's journal. Nancy quickly opened up the journal and read it. The journal mentioned 4 body parts that ravens have, complete with a diagram. Reaching a hand out to the picture on the pillar, Nancy touched it. The various wooden pieces could be pushed in. A little bit, anyway. She pushed the 4 body parts that were mentioned in the journal. The wooden plate with the raven on it spun around in a circle. Nancy barely had time to wonder what was happening when she heard a large crash behind her. Turning around, she saw that the map of the United States was completely ruined. Every single state, except for Washington, was now lying on the floor. Oh no! I killed America! Nancy Drew exclaimed. There was nothing else for Nancy to do but try to fix the country. Her knowledge of geography wasn't the greatest. In her defense, River Heights High doesn't have a U.S. geography class, but she had a picture of the completed U.S. map on her phone. It took 10 minutes for her to complete the huge jigsaw puzzle. When the last state was in place, there was a loud clicking sound. She turned to see the pillar with the raven picture on it. The pillar was once again rotating, and this time it rotated to the point where a starburst token was in sight. Nancy took a moment to marvel at the absolutely amazing technology on display here. Did Rita Hallowell invent some kind of wireless transceiver which sent information from the US map to the pillar? Or were there wooden gears and pulleys running through the floor which connected the two devices? Nancy shrugged while she grabbed the fourth, and final, starburst token. She didn't know what the tokens were for yet, but she felt satisfaction for a job well done. She had single-handedly fixed the United States of America, something all the politicians in Washington, D.C. were unable to do. Chapter 54, Rachel's Secret. Nancy was about to go back to her room when she noticed someone in the hall. Peering through the glass windows on the door, Nancy could clearly see Rachel Hubbard sneaking around. Rachel carried a tray of food, and she was looking around a corner to make sure no one was there to see her. Beep beep, chimed Nancy's cell phone. Nancy took out her phone, and she saw that the sound had come from one of the fancy specialized programs that Nancy's friend George had created. This particular program was called the Rachel Hubbard Activity Tracker. I knew downloading this app would come in handy, Nancy said. She opened the application to learn that the readings for Rachel's activities had gone from normal to super suspicious. Nancy scratched her head, wondering what to do next. Her instincts told her to chase after Rachel and see where Rachel went. But then again, the last time Nancy tried to trail a suspect, it hadn't gone well. Nancy was supposed to be following an international jewel smuggler, but she accidentally ended up following the wife of Police Chief McGinnis. Needless to say, Nancy had spent the night in the holding cell at the River Heights jail. This time, I won't screw up, Nancy thought to herself. Besides, there's nothing wrong with following another person in the middle of the night, right? Nancy slowly followed after Rachel Hubbard. Rachel didn't go far. She went straight to her room. Nancy quietly tried the doorknob. It was locked, but the lights in the room were on. Nancy decided not to knock on the door, in case that would wake up people in the nearby rooms. Instead, Nancy took out Amber Sullivan's ID card and used it to open the lock on the door. Nancy stepped into the room just in time to see the wall slide in. The room was completely empty. What? Nancy wondered. She went straight to the wall and examined it. There were star designs, as well as a circular piece that moved. Nancy experimented a bit, and she could move the circular piece from star to star. The stars lit up once the movable piece landed on them. I guess I have to try to light up all the stars, Nancy thought. She played around with the wall for a while, making liberal use of the reset button until she found the solution. Once all the stars were lit up, the door slid open, revealing a staircase that went up. Nancy followed the staircase, where she saw something shocking. Rachel Hubbard was sitting on a bed, and Rachel Hubbard was sitting at a desk eating from the tray of food. Oh my gosh, Nancy said. There's two of you? Oh no, one of the Rachels said. Chapter 55, Kim. Caught red-handed, the Hubbard twins tried their best to explain everything to Nancy. Our mother is dead, and our father is absolutely useless when it comes to raising two girls, one Rachel said. We thought if we didn't get accepted into a boarding school, we'd end up in foster homes. We applied everywhere, and Waverly agreed to give one of us a scholarship, the other Rachel said, so we decided to share it. The two of you have been here for 4 years, pretending to be the same person, Nancy summarized. Besides for taking a few leftovers, one of the Rachels gestured towards the plate of food on the desk, we haven't done anything wrong. You have to believe us. If we were doing something wrong, we would have been found out by now. Nancy thought about it as she considered her previous interactions with Rachel. The two of you must switch places every now and then, she concluded. Exactly, one Rachel said. That's why the second time I went to your room you didn't recognize me, Nancy said. And that's also why you said you didn't like Mel, but then later you said you liked her. Those were two different Rachels. Technically, only I'm Rachel, the Rachel on the left said. I'm Kim, the Rachel on the right said. Nancy looked back and forth between Rachel and Kim. The two were identical twins, so there was no way to tell them apart. The only difference Nancy could see was that Kim had tucked her hair behind her ear. Nice to meet you, Nancy said. Have you two really been doing this for 4 years? Yes, Rachel said, and we've only got 1 more semester to go. We're so close, you can't tell anyone, Becca. Please, Kim begged. If you tell, we'll get kicked out of school. That's why the black cat... Kim, Rachel said. Oops, Kim said. Whoa, what? Nancy asked. What's this about the black cat? Well, you know how I told you I haven't gotten any black cat notes? Kim asked. That's because she already knows about us. Huh? Nancy asked. Now she was completely confused. The black cat somehow found out that there's 2 of us, Rachel explained. She's been blackmailing us ever since, forcing us to do her dirty work. So you locked Danielle in the closet, Nancy accused. No, Rachel said. All we've done is make the black cat notes and deliver them, I swear. Whoever the black cat is, she's obviously setting us up to take the fall, Kim said. If she gets caught, she'll frame us for everything while she goes scot-free. You've got to do something. Why me? Nancy asked. Yeah, Rachel said. Why are you telling her all of this? If she tells, we'll be kicked out anyway, Kim said. But Becca can help us. She can figure out who the black cat is, and then we can blackmail the blackmailer. A stalemate. Yes, Rachel said. She high-fived Kim. Heh, Nancy said. This was an interesting situation. Well, I could play detective and try to figure out what's going on. I've always wanted to try my hand at detective work,